I'm pleased to be joined by Oklahoma coach Brent Venables. Coach, first, feels so good for me to say that. I got to start there. When this job opened up and you were reached out to, what was your response?
Like my response, like outwardly on the phone, or to my wife once I hung up. Like, no, it was, it was a dream come true.
Yeah.
And it was a moment that I felt very confident and comfortable in. To be very honest, I was prepared for the moment, and better be prepared for an opportunity that never comes than an opportunity that, not to be prepared for an opportunity, that does. And so for me, I was in strategy mode, and so if I'm taking you right back to that moment, and I've got a great comfort level for lots of reasons. When the interest was initially there, and the number one reason is just because of relationships. I started in this profession as a high school football player. And Bob Stoops was at my high school, Salina South High, recruited me when I was 17 years old. And I've had a relationship with him ever since. Now you fast forward, so I got into the profession as a player, and I found my purpose through the game and through relationships. And then when I'm 51, I get my first head job at a place that he got his first head job. And he helped guide me, if you will, during that process, during the initial interview process and multiple conversations over the next several days. And I know I wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for his blessing, I can assure you. And but that's how God works. Back when I'm 17 years old and coming up through dysfunction, coaches were always they bridged this gap that I needed, whether it's a father figure, whether it was believing in yourself, whether it was, finding something that you're passionate about and you're purpose driven in. And so 17-year-old version and bringing it to 51, coming to Oklahoma. The alignment, as you know, at Oklahoma, it takes a backseat to nobody from a leadership standpoint. From the very top at, Joe Harris to Joe Castiglione and so many others in the administration, Zach Selman, Larry Nafee. And so I had this comfort level, a very clear vision for, if I'm going to be successful, it's going to be because so many other people and processes that are in place that is going to be why. And so whether that's players, whether that's having a history of success, financially, facilities, location, passionate fan base. So all these things that were most important to me, and knowing, okay, when I only get one chance to be a head coach for the first time, and you for me, as I learned, I was the baby of three boys. Okay, so I always watched my brothers and their journeys, and if they made a mistake, I just kind of took note. I'm keeping receipts, and so I did the same thing as a coach, as a young coach, and I learned in the profession. And I had this coach that tried to give me some advice. He says, "Yeah, there's only two kinds of coaches." I was a young guy, just a GA. He's, two kinds of coaches. This is me and him in the locker room. He's giving me some wisdom. And this guy had been at like 30 places, all right? And he says, there's only two kinds of coaches. Those that have been fired, those that are going to be fired. And I was insulted. I'll be honest. I was mad. And in my mind, I didn't say anything. Yes, sir. That's all I said. But in my mind, I was like, that's not going to be me. That doesn't have to be you. Surround yourself with good people, man. You keep your head down. Try to be great right where your feet are. You can outwork people. You can outthink people. You can outsmart people. And you can make it happen. You don't have to be that stat. That was my mindset. I'll never forget that. Another coach pouring, that wasn't a seed of belief, but for me, that put my guard up, immediately. But I've been a loyalist at heart, in this profession. I've been about relationships. I never want to let my players down or my colleagues down. And I've never learned how to be great and be in two places at once. And so just be great where your feet are, be great today, quit worrying about someday. And I've always lived by that. Bill Schneider taught me that, and that the grass isn't greener. And so I've just tried to, I think that comes, RJ, from having an attitude of gratitude, that you're having a thankful spirit, because you can't be anxious and worrying and be thankful at the same time. And so for me, when you're thankful, all right, then you're going to, show that thankfulness by how hard and desperate and tenacious and passionately that you work for that opportunity. And so those opportunities that I had as a young coach, I didn't want to let them go. I didn't want to let anybody down. I want to prove everybody right. And most of all, I want to serve my players the right way. But I did watch other coaches coming and going and chasing opportunities. Like, wow, that's not K-State, or that's not Oklahoma, or that's not Clemson. And I just being very patient. And again, I've been fortunate. So it's not like I've been at a bunch of bad schools. I've been at 3 great schools, 3 Hall of Fame coaches. And for me, I valued that. I was thankful for whatever reason. The Spirit gave me great vision and decision-making ability. And to me, now that I look back at it now, I know that was for a purpose then, and super intentional, and not by accident. So that's where also I have a lot of peace and comfort through this decision. I'm like, oh, okay, now I see what you was doing, and
we never see it in real time.
But you got to go through stuff. You got to go through stuff, and that's in life, not just coaching. It's just in life. You got to go through stuff. You got to get scarred up, man. You got to have some failure. You got to have some tough moments, man. I've had plenty of tough moments. Sometimes you see all the glory, your head coach, and whatever, making money, and but there's a story behind that glory, and everybody has a story. And so for me, having a very clear vision for what I wanted if I ever had that opportunity, it's a very simple thing. Oh, who are you going to be like? No, man, I've had all these amazing people pour into me my whole life. All these seeds of work, seeds of belief, seeds of positivity, And so I've learned from 3 Hall of Fame coaches. And so I get back, because I'm still on that moment when, what was it like, thankfulness, but also confidence and preparedness, in that moment. And know that only God can do this. And so you're freed up when you're in that moment. I'll be very honest. And so to me, it was just then moving forward. And once we got to those conversations where it's like, okay, we want you to be our head coach. It's now, okay, all right, I want to accept it under these conditions. I need to know that you can, support me in all the ways I need to, things that are important to me to be successful. All right. And so making sure that those, values and standards and things that I needed were fulfilled and were met. So it's been amazing, though. It's been a fun 7.5 months. And as you're building a program, you got one opportunity to do it the first time the right way. Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, the genie's out of the bottle, you can't go back and do it the first time again. And so as we're building the foundation, man, we got to get it right. And that comes with a lot of intentionality and purpose, and some mistakes along the way, right? Like there's some of that willingness to make a hard left or right-hand turn. You got to be bold. You got to be unapologetic, and you got to rehearse your beliefs and your values and your standards, what those things are. And so it's simple from if it goes all the way back to when I was 17 and 51 about relationships, then it's the same thing as I build this program and do it the right way. It's about relationships. It's about, there's not going to be real deep-seated commitment unless you have connection first. And it's got to come from the right place. Your motive's got to be right. Your intent's got to be right, because people will see right through that if it's not. So I just try to be me, and still hold the same value system. I don't, people that see me probably see passion and intensity, and hopefully see loyalty and commitment, as well, and patience, and everything else, But it was an amazing moment. Again, dream come true for Julie and I and our family. Very difficult to leave Clemson, but the decision to go to Oklahoma had nothing to do with Clemson, if that makes any sense. But Clemson and the people there meant the world to me and our family, and we'll never, be able to repay them for the value that experience and our time there have meant to our family. So but I just, those relationships don't just go away. You know, those experiences and memories don't just go away. And that's a real thing. Like, people think, oh, you know, but you're making all this money, you're the head coach, so it had to be easy. No, it doesn't. That's not me. That's not anything like me. And, you know, when you love what you do and where you do it and who you do it with, that's got to mean something. You know, good name is better than riches and gold. So, you know, but this was a very unique opportunity. And having had, you know, numerous opportunities in the past, you know, and I valued every one of those opportunities, but this was the right one for Brent Venables.
I think that's a good place to leave it. Oklahoma coach Brent Venables, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Thanks, RJ. Is that one question?
It was. Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 ranked show YouTube channel.